So I'm back again, and I think now it is fine. When I look back at the replay of the last one, the video was upside down, so I'm not sure that would have been a good idea. And I take it you can certainly see me, and I hope you can hear me as well. So it's working good. Used to say to me, and other people have said the same thing. I'm just going to check on something first, and then we will begin. Apologies for the slight delay here, or long delay, taking into account how long it's taken. So, slight lag. Okay. So there's one person, and where else? Please let me know. It's always good to know where people are from. Okay, let's begin. A slight lag. It's obviously too much for my laptop here to handle. Hopefully it doesn't completely disrupt the whole call. True Self. So this is a book I've just released. It came out, I think it's about a week old now. And I did print off a cover. You can see just behind me, I've got the cover there, the True Self book cover. And the first one I printed off came out in purple because there was obviously an issue with the ink. Certainly would be different. You can see there. What do you think looks best? I think the blue one is definitely the better color. I think the purple one's a bit too bright. But anyway, so with the True Self book, I first started to put this together in September of 2018, and then I pretty much forgot the book, and then I ended up going, I think it was the next year. I don't think it was 2018, or it could have been actually. Yeah, it could have been. I've written so many, it's hard to keep track, but I think in 2018 then I ended up putting together a number of how-to guides and just started churning them out. And then I forgot about the earlier type of books that I was putting together. So I had already done some of these earlier books I hadn't released, and the True Self was one of them. And then in September last year, I ended up adding more, and I published the book. And then I unpublished it because I thought there's more to add, and I kept adding more and more and more. And I thought, I'm not surprised how some people can write a book and never finish it, because it can be so easy just to add more and more and more and more. And even now the book is out, I've also thought about other things that I could add, so I could have gone on forever. But of course, sometimes we have to make that decision to get it out. So it ended up being turned into a how-to guide, and there is 206 pages of the how-to guide. Now, in the beginning, I think it was about, before I added more, it was about 180 pages. And so we'll just give a very brief overview of the book. because you've probably seen the video. You don't want me to be covering all the old ground, but I will just read the back of the book. I won't go into the contents. So when it comes to the True Self book, this is what I say for the description. Do you find it hard to assert yourself? Are you unable to be vulnerable? Do you hide how you feel? Are you an overachiever? Do you neglect your own needs? And are you unable to relax? And then I say, if you answered yes to any of these questions, it is likely to show that you hide your true self. And then I say, you may have been this way for as long as you can remember, but that doesn't mean that your life has to stay this way forever. And then I say, True Self, how to reconnect with your true self, is made up of 2 parts. The first part contains 17 articles that go into the symptoms of hiding your true self. And the second part is a step-by-step guide that will allow you to gradually develop a better connection with your true self and spend more time expressing who you are. And then at the end, each chapter builds upon the other, giving you what you need to slowly transform your life. And by becoming aware of what you need to do to experience life differently and following the steps, your life will gradually begin to change. And the true self is, as I see it, is basically about being connected to our body and our needs and our feelings. So it's not an idea we have about ourselves. It is an embodied experience. And so when we have this connection, we can then live a life that is in alignment with who we are, and obviously feel closer to others, because if we are connected to ourselves, then we can be connected to others. If we are not connected to ourselves, then it's impossible to be really deeply connected to others. Obviously, we can exchange ideas and be connected intellectually, mentally, and we can be connected through shared experience. But to really feel that connection, we need to be in tune with our feelings. And so to me, this is a very important book, very similar to a topic that I'm going to go into at the end, enmeshment. As you may know, I've created a few videos, many videos, over 100 videos. And so enmeshment is obviously the antithesis of being connected to oneself. Am I an only child? No, I'm not. I've got an older sister. So I'm little bro to her, although the age difference is not that big. So whereas the enmeshment book is obviously for men, but as I said before, it can benefit a woman as well. She just substitutes the word man and he for woman because it's very similar. But when it comes to the True Self how-to guide, this is one that can be used by anyone. Anyone can benefit from the book. So in a way, it's like the universal version that anyone can benefit from. So the sound is good, I hope, and the certainly better than before. But when it comes to the true self, to share a bit about my own journey, I've obviously got videos in the About Me section, but for a long time, I would often just, if a friend said, would you like to come out and let's do this, I would just go along and they'd be like, yes, let's do it. And so there would be an automatic response from me, and I would not listen to myself. And then as time went by, I came to see that this was just an automatic response that I had learned, been conditioned to have as a child, and then gradually forming a stronger connection to myself and listening to myself and thinking, how do I feel? What are my needs? What do I want to do? And certain relationships changed. Some relationships fell away. New people came into my life. And this is why I say in the how-to guide as well, how some people can fall away and existing relationships can change and new people can come in. And I believe that the right people will enter our life when we are ready, when the time is right. And so, and I also say in the book about inspired action. So there is, of course, doing the inner work, and then there's taking action when we feel the call to do so. And then it can almost seem miraculous that people can just come into our life out of nowhere. So just to look at the comments there, but two people who I know who have commented and other things. So the Joker video, yep, the Book of Gordon. I think I remember seeing that comment. I think the comment was quite long and quite in depth. The Joker, that was it. So off topic here, that was what a film. What a film. I thought that the film was very good, very well made, but I didn't particularly enjoy the film. I thought it was too intense. Bit too much. But the person I was with, I was watching the film with my girlfriend at the time, and I said to her, would you like to leave? She was uncomfortable, but she wanted to stay. But I would have happily left. Certainly wasn't a film that I'm going to be watching again. It's an intense one for sure. And apparently there's going to be a second Joker film as well, which is going to be a musical. It's not a fan of musicals, so I don't think I'll be booking in to watch that one. And what about X Nilo? Have you seen the Joker film as well? Interesting to hear what your thoughts are. So, just jumping over to the travel part of the film, of the broadcast, lost where I'm at. At the beginning of the year, or in March, or February and March, I ended up going to Malta. And this is touching into what I was just talking about. This is something I also mentioned in the how-to guide about travel and how that can be very beneficial to reconnecting to our true self. And I've certainly found it to be beneficial. Of course, we can go away with other people, or we can do solo travel, and there's pros and cons to everything. I've done both, and I know that if I'm with someone else and I want to see some historical site, then I know that I've got to think about someone else. I don't want to be rude and just say, just wait until I'm done. So I know if I travel by myself, I can stay somewhere as long as I want until I'm fed up. And obviously, I can't do that with someone else. But then if I am with someone else and there's a shared experience, memories are created and all that. And when I was in Malta, I ended up taking part in a half marathon and ended up meeting someone there, and we spent some time together, which was very pleasant. And after Malta, I ended up going to Israel and met someone there from America, and that was great as well. And these things added another dimension to the trips. And I wonder, has anyone on the other side, have you watching this? Have you been to Malta? Have you been to Israel? Have you been to Palestine? I even went there as well. Has anyone been there? Curious to hear. Canada seems like an interesting place. Thing is with these live feeds is that, I know for some people it's very early, some people it's late, some people so late they're asleep, it's in the middle of the day. But the good thing as well is that as they will be recorded and saved, if you're not watching this live, then right now, in another now moment, you are watching it not live. And it could be a day later, it could be a week later, it could be a month. You could be watching this years down the line. So who knows? So back to the travel. So as I've said, very beneficial. Can be very beneficial to travel by oneself. We can connect to parts of ourselves that we didn't know existed. We can feel a sense of liberation. And as if one is by themselves, then they can need to be more balanced because they won't have anyone else there. When I talk about this in the how-to guide, they won't have anyone else there to stand up for them to make decisions. And so it is in their hands to take action. So it's then very good for developing and strengthening the masculine aspect. And by that, I'm talking about the element, the energy. So the fire, the inner fire, the doing energy. And if someone is coming from a place of being quite passive and relying on others, then if they're by themselves and they know if they don't take action, then nothing is going to happen. They're going to be stuck perhaps in their room, their hostel, wherever they're staying. And so they know in order to make the most of their trip, it's down to them. And when I was in Israel, I stayed in one of these capsule things, which was very interesting. Thought I was going to be a bit claustrophobic in there, but I was okay, and it was quite a pleasant experience, very clean. And this was right in Jerusalem, so it was a perfect place. And then after that, I ended up going back to Malta, a normal hotel, so that was definitely a relief. A welcome break from being cooped up, as I said, although it wasn't bad from being cooped up. So before I go on to the next part, any questions, any comments, any feedback? Of course, if you're watching this later on, then the feedback you leave, I can't answer live. because this is recorded in another now moment. But I remember before, when I did a live before, I also had another issue. I need to employ a whole team, somebody who's a bit more tech savvy. I had a friend of mine who got me one of these Echo Dot things, but I had to send the gift back, unfortunately. Grateful for it, but I'm just a bit not big on the tech. Keep it simple. I've got a friend who's got all the tech, all the drones and everything, and he's done a lot of my footage, intro footage in the past. He's certainly the tech king. So any comments, any feedback before I go on to the next section? No, it says there's so many people on the other side. And as you can see in the background there, I've got, what is it, like a lamp or a jug? That was actually my father's jug, or a bit like Aladdin's lamp. That was my father's. I think he got that in Greece before I was on the scene. And behind that, I've got a banner of Jerusalem there. You can't really see it, but I got a great deal on that. I think it cost me about 10 shekels. I think that was the deal of the holiday. So let's crack on. There's no questions there, so let's crack on to the next section then. So going from travel to enmeshment. As I've said, I've created just a few videos and articles and the book, of course, with the enmeshment. And very interesting topic. There's, of course, many types of symptoms that can arise and different backgrounds that can lead to a man being in this position. So, and different women and men, of course, that can end up with a man who is like this. So it's not black and white, but it's obviously a popular topic, quite a niche topic as well, I suppose. I think there's lots of people that know about enmeshment in general, but not as much of awareness about the mother enmeshed man type of enmeshment. And sometimes I think I've pretty much squeezed everything out, and then I find something else to do a video on or an article on. But I think that in general, looking at the analytics, there's far more viewers that are women than men. It's often women that are aware of it, and men that aren't. So it's interesting. And when it comes to the enmeshment book that I put together, just going to read the description of that how-to guide as well. And for this one, Mother Enmeshed Man, how to no longer be a mother enmeshed man, and this is on Kindle and paperback. And for this I say, do you find it hard to live your own life? Are you unable to say no to your mother? Do you hide your true self? Are you unable to connect to your own needs? Do you neglect yourself? are you unable to connect to your own feelings? And then I go on to say, if you answered yes to any of these questions, it is likely to show that you are emotionally entangled with your mother due to being emotionally underdeveloped I thought there was a mistake there. But there isn't. Anyway, due to being in an emotionally underdeveloped and traumatized state. And then I go on to say, Mother Enmeshed Man, how to no longer be a Mother Enmeshed Man is a step-by-step guide that will allow you to gradually emotionally separate from your mother. You may have struggled with the impact of what took place when you were a child and for as long as you can remember. But your life doesn't have to stay this way forever. And at the end, I say each chapter builds upon the other, giving you everything you need to slowly transform your life. And through becoming aware of what you need to do to experience life differently and following the steps, you will gradually begin to emotionally grow up and to liberate yourself. So that is that. We have a new question. Good. From probably going to pronounce this wrong. I think if you've seen my other videos, my pronunciations are always on point, so I apologize. So this is from Martinez. Whereabouts are you from? Be good to know. So why should I start traveling? By myself or with family? So I'll answer both. By myself, I was, or with friends, I guess, in my 20s, mid-20s, and as a child, by myself. Yeah, so let's think. Brazil. I heard lots of good things about Brazil. I had a friend once who said how open and friendly and warm the people of Brazil were. Certainly did appeal to me. Certainly seems like a very friendly and warm country. So yeah, I think it was by myself, probably, let's think, early 30s, I think, with that one. And before then, traveling with friends, and before with family, of course. But in the beginning, I suppose traveling by myself, I thought it would be a bit lonely and something that would not really appeal to me. But as I've got older and I can appreciate doing things by myself, and as I can meet others, I don't find it hard to talk to people either. So that helps. But as I said, there are certainly pros and cons to it. And and how about you, Martinez? Do you travel by yourself? Are you thinking about doing this? If you have traveled, whereabouts have you been to? Book of Gordon, what do you like about traveling by yourself? I'm intrigued. And what's the weather like in Brazil now? I take it it's probably very warm. Starting to. Cool. Whereabouts are you thinking of going? Whereabouts have you been? I'm intrigued. And then, of course, the other side of things, of course, is if one travels with another, they don't want to stay around if they want to leave, and also traveling with someone else, they might want to see. I mean, especially I know if I'm in a relationship and it's like, okay, well, that person's come with me, so I can feel the pressure to go with them. And if we're only away for a short period of time, and of course, I don't want to spend too much time by myself if it's a few day thing. But of course, if you're with your partner for a long time, then of course, if you don't spend all the time together, it's fine because you're going to be there for so long. So it's different then. I remember going to Berlin and going to the museum, the Pergamon 360 Museum, spectacular place. It's called Museum Island, and there's lots of museums there. And then going into the Pergamon 360, and this is a museum that's for the Pergamon. There's artifacts that have been taken. I think it's now where it was is modern day somewhere in Turkey. And there's this chamber in the middle. So you walk up the middle, and on the outside there is this. It's almost like artwork. It's not completely real looking, but it's not like a cartoon either. And there's music, and it goes light and dark, and it's just for me it was like I was had gone back in time, and it was an amazing experience. They really did a great job. You were not supposed to film or take pictures, but I had to record the sound because it was such a wonderful sound. Spectacular place. But before then, we had bought a ticket and we were going to go to, I think it was a section that had Egyptian artifacts in, and we were unable to go in there, and I felt a bit let down, and so we headed off to the other place, and I thought, good job, because this seemed, although I didn't see the other place, I think it was far better. So any other questions? In England now, it's coming up to 10:30. so it's pitch black outside. And what about where you are? Is it sunny there? Is it snowing? Is it cold? What's the temperature? In England, and whereabouts in England did you go? Autumn daylight. Not bad, not bad. Certainly warm enough. When I was in Malta, it was about 18, I think. So it was warmer than England, but it wasn't overly warm. It was still a bit windy. And then when I went to Israel, it was about 26. So it was very, very hot compared with Malta. And then going back to Malta was a bit chilly. But the energy in Israel was in Jerusalem was very different to Malta. I thought it was quite an intense place, right in the old city there. Lots of history there, a lot to see. I'm not religious, but I can appreciate all the historic buildings and the buildings from the Crusades, and there's so much history there from the Roman era, the Ottomans. Incredible, incredible. Would I live there in Malta or Israel or both? Malta is a good place. Been there a number of times now. Certainly feel at home there. Good weather. It's a bit small country, small island. Israel, not sure. I mean, I only went to Jerusalem really. It's intense. But as someone said there, speaking to an Israeli on the way back to Malta, and as he said, Jerusalem's very different to other parts. So if I'd have gone to Tel Aviv, it would have been different. It's a bit like someone going to London and thinking that is England, and of course, it's different. It's different because London does not similar. Someone going to New York and thinking that's America, of course, is different. Masonic history, not really. The Knights Hospitallers, the Order of St. John interests me. And I went to Rhodes before and saw the Order of St. John sites there, and to Cyprus, but that was before I was really into all this stuff. And very interesting. 25 degrees, nice. That's a good heat. It's a very good heat. That's a heat. I suppose that's pretty normal for yourself. And we're in Brazil. I've seen lots of pictures of can't think of the name now. With Christ the Redeemer. It's on the tip of my tongue. Can't think of the name. Sao Paulo, is that the place I'm thinking about? Williston, never heard of it. Never heard of it. Whereabouts in England is that? Williston. Yeah, never heard of it. I'm gonna have to have a browse. Not far from the airport. I take it that was it Heathrow or Gatwick or yeah, probably one of those. And so I think Book of Gordon, you came across my work through the Enmeshment stuff. Heathrow, yeah. And what about you, Martinez? How have you come across this live feed? Curious to know. a follower of the channel. But the thing is, I've covered so many different topics that I know that it's not that everyone who follows the channel is simply there because of one topic. Okay, so any questions about the true self, about enmeshment, please fire away. And whilst you send over the questions, I've just seen something I need to correct. It's easily done. Right. So, not a question. Seems like just a comment here. So, yeah, certainly a lot of parents out there that are very disordered. So, Amy Bauer, I think I'm saying that right. Whereabouts are you from? Be good to know. So, how do I get my WI? Not sure where that is. So, how do I get my boyfriend away from his abusive and controlling mum that he caregives, serious mind control? Good question. Good question. Good question. Well, firstly, I take it you've spoken to him and he can see that he is in a relationship, a dynamic that is not serving him. If you have, what has he said? Has he taken any steps? Because, of course, sadly, in these positions, we can't change others. We can't make them do something they don't want to do. And it's always hard when we are in a relationship with someone or know someone who is going through something dysfunctional. Very hard because on one side they can be in a situation that is obviously undermining them. Sorry, you can see it, you can feel it, and at the same time, through trying to change someone else, then oneself can also start to suffer because we start to send our energy to them. So not only are they, and this comes back to the enmeshment, not only is someone else in a bad way, not only is someone else being undermined, and this doesn't matter whether it's a mother enmeshed man and a woman, but anyone, they start to give that person their energy, and then of course what happens, they go down as well. So it's a bit like one person is in a boat. The boat is, to use an analogy, one person's in a boat. The boat is sinking. You want them to get out the boat. You can see it's going down. Perhaps other people can on the shore. They can see it's going down as well. And basically, you're in the boat as well. So it ends up taking you both out. And we're all on our own path. And sometimes the best thing we can do is to let someone go. But of course, when we are attached and we're invested, it's hard to do. Yeah, loyalty to the Father. That's another can of worms. This loyalty to the Father. And then, of course, when we are loyal to someone else, then, of course, we are not being loyal to ourselves. And I'm sure this man's father, if he talk about people being on the other side, but if he was a level-headed guy, I'm sure he wouldn't want his son to destroy himself to try and help someone else who probably doesn't want to be helped. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. So what else we got here? Selena, yeah, says here. Someone else found the video interesting. That's good. Don't know if anyone saw, but on my True Self book, under the video, I said to Selena, are you still being creative? Because she's created a number of good videos talking about important things. So I'm not the only one who's found them interesting. There's other people here can see someone else found it interesting. I wonder what video did you find interesting? Too embarrassed to post anymore. No. Well, I'm not here to be telling anyone what to do, but I say keep going. Anyone out there, if you're creative, crack on. Crack on. If you feel that cool, do it. Don't think about what other people think or if it's good enough or what other people are doing. When I do a video, and of course I'm reading books, I don't really watch many videos, but I read books and articles and listen to audiobooks, but I don't think what are other people doing. And I think this is one reason why I've been able to do so much, is because I'm not thinking about what other people are doing. I'm not comparing myself with others, because of course I can do that and think, well, look at this person, they're better at doing this, they're better at doing that. But I think that we're all on our own path and we've all got a message to share. And I remember one of my first mentors, Dov Barron, said, when we are not expressing our gift, we are depriving the world. And so I think it's always important for us to, and that can take time. I, of course, didn't just start making videos right off the bat. It took me a number of years after I started writing, and then I was pretty slow to take the next step. So let's have a look at some of the comments here. They've come in thick and fast, which is good. Okay, two things. So, so Book of Gordon was saying about cluster, cluster B, and he was probably the same as his son. Not sure, but I'm just going to assume she means in terms of the father being like an enabler type of individual. And this is the thing, it's the of course when we were children we are defenseless, and that is when the abusive parent or parents can undermine the child, because the child is weaker. As an analogy I've often used in my articles is it's a bit like going into a war zone without any weapons, completely defenseless. And then, as the Book of Gordon has said, some serious mind control. Exactly, the seeds are put in. The child is defenseless. They're being tortured. Basically, they can't do anything, whether it's physical or mental and emotional, all kinds of different abuse. And then that person grows up into an adult, and they have no, initially, of course, when they haven't done any work, they have no way of standing up for themselves, no way to protect themselves. And then, of course, in this example here, with someone feeling responsible for their mother out of loyalty for their father. It's obviously a complete role reversal, and it reminds me of the family constellation work. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of that. Pardon me. Yeah. So the yeah, so the book I'm talking about, or didn't mention a book, but talking about the family constellations, and that's all about loyalty. And I think it's Bert Hellinger or something. But anyway, this guy came up with the idea that when we are born, we take on our parents' issues out of loyalty. So it's like, you gave me life. This takes place unconsciously. So I will take on, technical term, I'll take on your shit because you gave me life. And then you can see with this example here, a guy is there for his mother because he said to his father that he would be. And of course, it was his parents' choice to have him, not the other way around. And I'm sure that if he was to have children himself, assuming he hasn't, he would not want his son to be responsible for him. He would want his son to live his own life. Because, of course, we only have one life, at least in this form, at least this version of us. So I just bought your book. What book is that? Is that the True Self book? I wonder. And Selena said, I think you have to get to the point where it's you or them, and you realize you matter more, which is hard to do because you often you never learn to matter. Yeah, totally. It's like a seesaw. It's this gradually it's almost like coming up and down, and gradually developing that sense that my life, individual me, whoever me is, my life is more important than that person's life. So, yeah, well said. Okay, good. You bought the True Self book. Good to hear. I'm looking forward to your feedback on that book. And Selena has said, obviously you can read all these yourself, but I will just read it out anyway. I feel like it's hard. I feel like it's a hard sell to improve yourself because you don't get better straight away. But it does help you in the long run and others by extension. Totally. Totally. Just to share a story, I remember many, many years ago when I first started doing courses, I thought, and when I was first started having healing, how long ago was that? Let's think. About 16 years ago, I first started, and back then I used to think, few sessions, if I just do this course, I'll be sorted, and that is it. And as time has gone on, I came to see, no, it's not one session, it's not one course, no weekend or week-long course. I did a 2-week course once, and I thought I was going to be sorted. And then I came to see that no, it's a process, it's a journey, and it's about patience and persistence. And over time, this is why it's so important for us to compare ourselves with where we started, not where someone else is or appears to be. And then we can see we've made steps. And through seeing those steps, because it's not a linear process, sometimes it can seem as though we are going back. And then through doing that, we can say, okay, look, this is working, let's keep going. And then I found as well for me personally, that as time has gone on, I've become less attached, and through being less attached, it's often allowed me to move forward faster, I'd say, because it's that attachment, and I talk about this in the True Self book as well. Got a chapter on that, so that's a key part. So coming back to the ex Nilo, said she watched one of Selena's videos, or perhaps you watched them all. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. If you're still there, feel free to let us know. I wonder. I was actually thinking about doing this live feed in the woods. I think that would have been interesting. But based on what took place when I tried to do the live feed through my phone here, I don't think that would have been a good idea. Certainly would have been good scenery. There's a lot of MOD where I am, so it might have got a bit noisy as well. And I like to say as well, to everyone here, keep up the good work. You've not turned your back on yourself, and that's commendable. Committing to our own healing, our own growth. That's what matters. That's what matters. And as I have said many times, the people who brought us up may have abandoned us, but that doesn't mean we have to abandon ourselves. And most likely the people who did abandon us had abandoned themselves, and they were abandoned as well. And this is why it's never personal, although at times, should I say, when we were younger, it is seen as a personal attack, seen as being a reflection of our worth, of our lovability, because we are egocentric. And then realizing, as is being said here in the comments, realizing that it's not us, it's not personal, takes time. I remember when I was putting together the book on self-love and self-worth, and I came to see it was clear that I didn't have a felt sense of worth or lovability, not consistent sense. I could see that for years before, and then trying to experience things. I had good friends and things like that. It wasn't like I was completely barren in that department because of the work I'd done, but it was certainly a process. And I can see just with me going away how that's changed. And good. See, that's it. Well said. Ex Nilo, very well said. She must not doubt herself. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I thought the same. There was an intensity of realness, a vulnerability there, strength. Keep it up. Keep it up. Selena says, I'm happy you made it live. I wanted to know how you were up to. Yeah, I think the last time I did a live video was a number of years ago. And then today, I just thought, let's do a live video. I just had the sense to do it. So, what have we got here? The Book of Gordon is saying, I was a child for as long as I have been healing. For every year of abuse, it has taken me a year of reflection. And this shows the complexity of healing. As I've just said, if it was a case of one weekend or one few week course and there wasn't layers of pain to deal with, I was going to say something else, then it would be different because there is so many layers. And the defenses, of course, we can't just go straight in there. Defenses are built up to protect us, to allow us to function. And although at times it may seem like a great idea, if everything came up in one go, let's just purge it in one go, then it would probably wipe us out. And as our system gets stronger, then what we would face tomorrow, we wouldn't face today, and we get stronger, and then we can handle more, and we can hold the space for ourselves. Took me a long time to get to the point where I can hold the space for myself. But when I did a course in 2009, there was this guy there, very like a father figure, Italian guy. And he was saying I had the ability to hold space. And I was thinking, what's this guy talking about? He can, but I can't. But he recognized something. And that was the course I did in Belgium, in Antwerp. That was an interesting course. We met lots of great people. And I think this is a good thing about courses. You see the people we meet, the experiences we have, and make lifelong friends. Sometimes think about running some kind of small gathering, and I can see that most of the people that view my material are from America. So if I was to go down that path, perhaps America would be the place for me to do it. Field trip, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Get on the road, hold something. Yeah, the States. Interesting place. Many, many years ago as a child, I went to Florida, went to went to Palm Springs. Which country is the most peaceful place, eh? Well, Malta's quite a peaceful place. And there's Bali. I went there many years ago. It's a good place. Lots of people hold courses there. It's meant to have a good energy there. That would be an interesting, a warm country. Friendly people there. Certainly wouldn't be a bad option. The Malta idea, yeah, that'll be good. Certainly a special place. You've got Malta, you've got Camino, the small island. There's Gozo as well. A lot of the videos now that I create, I had videos. The introduction is of Malta and Israel. And in the group, don't know if any of you, all of you are in the group, but in the group I've shared images from Malta as well. And Rhodes is a very special place, is another interesting place. In Malta, Israel and Rhodes and Cyprus as well. There's lots of cats everywhere, which to me adds another dimension to it, makes it more friendly with animals. I'm a big animal person. I was a dog man, but in recent years I've warmed up to cats. And in Mdina, the citadel in Mdina in Malta, I remember seeing some cats that did have owners, and I could just tell they had a different personality. And in Valletta, they've got this very interesting lift there, and when I got off the lift, there was a cat, and there's a guy waiting by the lift, and I said, "Does the cat use the lift as well?" Not sure if he understood what I was saying, but it was very interesting. And these cats are going all over, getting involved, climbing up on the monuments and everything. And in 3 cats and 10 chickens, Book of Gordon's got 3 cats. See, the thing about cats, I think, yeah, they're independent. Hairs everywhere. It's the trouble for me. Dogs, not as standoffish. Can be hairs everywhere as well. Pros and cons. And anyone else got any pets? Chickens, yeah, I had chickens growing up as well. Always remember the noisy cockerels waking me up. Anyone else got any pets? I'm not sure with and I can invite people in, but I think something like a Zoom or a Skype, then I know people can also be on the call as well, so I can see everyone and you can see everyone as well. That adds another dimension. I've never really understood the difference, the preference for Zoom over Skype. To me, it's all the same. So anyone, any more questions or comments over there? Keep them coming. Keep them coming. It's 11 o'clock here, but I'm happy to carry on. It's a bank holiday in England because of the coronation. So we get another bank holiday. Not that that makes a difference, but I'm in no rush. Have some stories, yeah. Feel free to share. Anyone, any stories? I wonder what Selena's going to do a video on next. I wonder. Certainly a lot of things to think about, and talk about. I've used a number of pictures of cats in my quotes, catching them at the right moment, and sheep as well. Lots of sheep and lambs around here at the moment. I think it adds a good element to the quotes. Locked out of TikTok. I haven't got any. I'm not on TikTok. Not on that. The other day when I was going for a walk, I walked through a field and there was all these sheep and lambs, and a sheep and two lambs walked towards me, and I felt a bit edgy. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know whether to go and stroke the sheep and the lambs or to walk away. And then I took a picture, and they got right up close, and that was an interesting experience. And then I just carried on walking and took a few more pictures as they were looking over. Lots of squirrels around here and rabbits, and often hear owls as well, and foxes. England has coercive control laws, but Canada does not. Yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment. A lot going on. Plenty of people, as I see it, plenty of people talking about what's going on out there and what's going to happen. And in comparison, relatively few people talking about dealing with their own shadow. But anyway, yeah, animals. I went up to the cemetery the other day, and as soon as I walked towards a gravestone of a number of family members, I saw this cat comes out, and he or she walks towards me, and then I sat down, and the cat just wanted a cuddle, I think, and took a load of pictures. Quite a special experience, and it was the same cat that I had seen in the cemetery many months ago. And I went up there a while ago to see if I could see the cat, but didn't see it. And I thought it was the cat that lived at the cemetery, but it wasn't. One of the gardeners told me that there's another cat there, and this cat that I saw often goes to the cemetery just to clean up house, to eat all the rodents, basically. Yeah, lots of things are said about cats, about them being able to heal and everything, and being able to tune into people's energies and all this stuff. Good companions. Yeah, easily done when we're younger and we don't really know what's going on. Some videos with children messing around with dogs and cats. It's obviously up to the parents to make it clear that pets are not toys. They feel things as well, and sometimes, of course, children can take out their anger on animals. It's often what happens. Just like with adults, abusive parents, they wound their children because they're not a threat, and then it goes down. And perhaps you've seen an image of the person being told off by the boss. They take it out on their partner, they take it out on their child, the child takes it out on their pet. So it just goes down to the weaker thing. So who's still on the other side? Can see there's Book of Gordon there, there's Selena, is anyone else? Is anyone else still on the other side? Chickens, lots of talk of chickens. I remember having a bantam. Used to call the bantam pecker. It's quite tame. So I brought it up from when it was a chick and used to pick it up. And sadly, it was like so many of the chickens and ducks eaten by the foxes. The foxes got over and killed the chickens and everything. Yeah, different personalities, definitely. Yeah. Also had two golden retrievers growing up as well. Brilliant dogs. Very, very intelligent. Very loving dogs. Yeah, yeah. A mink. I had a mink last week. Sounds like you were babysitting a cat for a week. Interesting. Dog saved my life. Yeah, that's the thing for so many of us, so many people. Having that bond with an animal, feeling safe with an animal that wasn't there with our parents. Definitely a godsend for sure. A mink. Let's see. A mink, yeah. A mink is, just had a look on Google, a mink is certainly not a cat. Yeah, mink is like a bit like a rat, like a hairy rat. Blimey, have to be careful with the minks. Used to have a lot of rats as well. A lot of rats here. A ferret. Yeah, got to be careful with them. Lots of mice as well. Have to be careful with the rats, with the mice. Yeah, well, they say we're all a bit mad. Coming back to films, the Joker. What else? Has anyone got any other films that have really stood out, have had a big impact on them? A while ago, I created a video and an article on the Avatar, and it was called "I See You." That was an interesting film. That was number 2. And how long? Perhaps you've seen it, the second and the first. Will it take about 10 years or something for the second one to come out? Interesting themes in the film. The I See You with the father who had warmed to the older son, and the younger son didn't feel seen and heard. And he was blamed for a lot of things. And then when the son did something and the father could see that the son was not all bad and he was doing good things, and the son felt seen by the father, which of course is very important for children to be seen by their parents, for them to develop a strong sense of self, to feel worthy and lovable. And when this doesn't happen, because the child is given all the parents, ends up embodying a lot of the parents' shadow side, then the child can feel invisible. Blue is the warmest colour. And what is that in relation to? Mia Mac. $1 Million Baby. I have seen that, but that was a long time ago. Remember it being a good film. Talking about films. Of course. Sounds interesting. Mia Maxima Culpa sounds interesting. No, I haven't seen the Gabor Mate film. Blue is the warmest colour. Rings a bell, but I don't think I've seen it. Interesting. Batman to the Joker. Yep, sounds right. Being the Batman, being the so seeing Joker as being the uncontrolled aspect of Batman that he's repressed. He keeps it together. He's got his demons, and in that way, he is the unstable part of him. Yeah, can see that. Definitely a traumatized soul was the Joker for sure. The Batman, which I suppose all Batmans, but I thought that the Batman with Christian Bale, the second film for me was brilliant film. Talking about, and then in the third one as well, he goes down, falls into a hole, and has to get himself out. Definitely relates to trauma as well. Going down and gradually, like the phoenix rising up from the ashes. So that was very well done. Of course, in the film, it's more he's in a hole and he's got his demons, but in the day-to-day life, is can be in an invisible hole and more about the inner demons. Yeah, Heath Ledger did a good job. Very good job, yeah. The person who is in pain harms themselves and others. Yeah, in today's world, very common. You're either selfish or selfless. The person that is there for others is then seen as good, even if they're completely compromising themselves and are enabling others. Yeah, those who are saving and those who need to be saved both have their own issues. And with superheroes as a whole, it reflects, of course, the person that feels less than, so they then have the need to be more than others. They're more than human because if someone feels completely empty, then being human is not enough. So they need to go to the extreme and have superpowers. Forrest Gump, haven't seen that. Haven't seen that one. Certainly a classic film, from what I've heard. No, I haven't seen it. Guardians of the Galaxy, not seen them. Not seen them. An interesting film is the an old film, Crocodile Dundee films. Interesting. Has anyone seen them? The 1 and 2, Crocodile Dundee. Used to watch them a lot as a child, and when I think about them now, Crocodile Dundee on the outside, he's he's not really been conditioned like the people around him. So he comes in, does his thing, and then he leaves. Very much the heretic in a way. Forrest Gump. I've seen The Terminal, Catch Me If You Can, Da Vinci Code. Oh yeah, yeah. Jack Nicholson, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, brilliant. Who's Mad? Who's Mad? Yeah, brilliant film. Classic film. Recommend that. Sounds like Book of Gordon should have their own channel reviewing films. Seem to have a good understanding. It's all going on now. It's all going on now. It's all going on now. So we've got creative intelligence has joined the call. My partner in crime. Someone else I mentioned at the beginning of the call. This is the guy, very creative soul. Good, great friend of mine. He does everything. Creates videos, creates music, photographer. Does everything. This chap. Definitely check out his channel. Does all kinds of things. Got it all going on. Great soul there. So Limitless, yeah, good point there. Has anyone else seen Limitless? That's a great film. I remember watching Limitless and I ended up feeling super inspired. Can't remember all the things I got involved in, but I was doing Pilates at the time. I was doing yoga. I ended up trying to learn Spanish as well. I thought, oh, let's get it on. Let's learn all these things. The only issue was I didn't have these NZTs. That certainly would have helped. And of course, yeah, good series. It was turned into a series as well, wasn't it? Very briefly. I think they stopped after a few episodes, but brilliant. Very uplifting film. Very uplifting. How is it? Not very good. Not very good. Can't really remember any of it. And then, of course, with the talking of films, The Matrix, very interesting. So taking the red pill and the blue pill, interesting. Feeling a bit peckish now myself. Need to get one of these deliveries in, these Uber Eats. A nice big meal. Trying to think what else. Yeah, that's it. It's the best way to learn, isn't it? Either be with someone who is able to speak another language or live in another country. Immersion, then you're forced to learn. Yeah, certainly a good idea. We are here, one world government, baby. It's all coming in thick and fast now. These days, I don't watch many films. One World Government Baby, is that a film? We Are Here, not heard of that one. The Red Pill by, what's her name? The woman. Can't think of her name if that's the one you're talking about. The men's movement. I haven't seen that one. Is it Josie or something like that? Thing is, these days with Netflix and there's Amazon, there's Netflix, there's all kinds of things. So much to watch. Got a friend of mine actually who's got one of these projectors. He's got a projector and he was using a duvet bedsheet for the screen. And he showed me some pictures and it was like he had his own private cinema. Certainly a good idea if someone's into, if they're into their films now, projectors are a lot cheaper. Certainly a good way to go about things. So much to see. Yeah, I'm the same. Definitely the cinema for me. Recently with Creative Intelligence, I saw the Bond film, Die Another Day. That was a really good film. And that was the first film I saw at the cinema for a long time. And then we ended up watching it's gone. What was the other film we watched? On the Creative Intelligence is still there. Was this Viking film? Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. Yeah, it's the best way to do it. And the good thing is, if you're at the cinema, then there's no distractions, is there? Plus, you can get in all the snacks. Obviously, you can do that at home. Get the popcorn in, get the drinks in. What was it called? The Northman. We saw The Northman. Wasn't bad. Started off well. They were talking about it being this generation's Gladiator, which I thought was going way too far. Gladiator, brilliant film. Brilliant film. Yeah, that is the thing these days. Lots of free entertainment, so what's the point? What's the point in paying for it, whether it's yeah, there's a lot going on in AI as well. Going on there. So I think we'll round this up in about 5 minutes. So any last words? Definitely had an enjoyable experience tonight. So thanks to everyone who's taken part and who's commented and taken time out of their schedule to be here. As you know, I'm not easy. I'm not hard to find. So if you have anything you'd like to say to me, any comments, suggestions, or feedback, or anything, any ideas, then always feel free to reach out. Well, as they say, you know that saying, going nowhere, being no one. So we're no one and we're everyone. We're nothing and we're everything, with a duality there. So no doubt I will share another video soon. And probably another travel video. Got plenty more to share. More videos of Israel and Malta, so I'll get them up. Something a bit different. And I'm sure there will be many more travel videos to come as well. More to see, more to explore, more to discover. Madeira, yeah. The field trip, yeah, of course. Yeah, perhaps some kind of gathering somewhere. Perhaps in Europe, perhaps somewhere else. Open to all suggestions if the call is there, the interest is there. Open to travelling to most places. I'm all ears. Madeira, Portugal. Yeah, Madeira. Yeah, Pluto or Mars. Madeira, Portugal. Yeah. Have you been there, Selena? Are you from Madeira? Have you visited Madeira? What's good about Madeira? Happy to hear more about Madeira. It's obviously an island. I think my sister went there when she was younger. Oh yeah, you're from Madeira. Pearl of the Atlantic. Yeah, we're all head to Canada then. And whereabouts in Canada are you from? Book of Gordon? Because at the moment I'm really into ancient history, medieval Crusader history, so historical sites I find uplifting. And what do they eat in? What do they eat in Madeira? So if we go to Canada then, and Selena comes with us, you'll go there by boat, or perhaps you can walk from what do they call it when someone hitchhike, isn't it, when they go from country to country? I know some people have walked from one place on the map to another place, have walked miles. Sounds good to me. Yeah, get all the. Always like to try different cuisines as well. Nice. That's okay. Well, I'll plan it now then. In the year 2026, a gathering will take place. You've got plenty of time. And what about here? What about anyone here? Is anyone a runner, or have they done any running? As I said, when I was in Malta, I ran a half marathon. I've run a number of half marathons now. I ran a half marathon in London. It was interesting, running around the city. I wonder if there's any runners here. I know that they say in Canada, the Vikings visited Canada. Can't think of the it's on the right on the map. Yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. What about cycling? Perhaps you're into cycling or swimming. Right. So, lastly, thanks again for joining me here, taking the time to listen, and as always, as I've said, keep up your commitment to yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Keep going. As you know, I offer many different books as well as consultations as well. If you feel the call to be assisted by me, and the main thing is that you do what you need to do, whatever that means to you, to move forward and to receive the assistance that you need. And I will talk to you soon. And as I said, feel free to share anything with me via email or Facebook or wherever. So good night, good morning, and good afternoon, and have a wonderful day tomorrow. And I will talk to you soon. I'm sure I won't leave it as long next time until I do another live feed. So talk to you and see you later.